Welcome, sports fans. Welcome to Sports Den Radio. Just want to thank everybody for tuning in today. We are SDR, and over the next few months, Sports Den Radio is going to bring you a unique look at the game from the perspective of the fan. The fan, as you know, is an integral part of the game. So SDR is going to focus on fan topics, season tickets, jersey sales, anything that riles you up as a fan. SDR is going to talk about it. We are Sports Den Radio, for the fans, by the fans, of the fans. We're just fans. We're here to have a good time. We're out here in the den, on our couch, hanging out. We're going to talk sports. We're going to talk fan topics. And we want to bring the fan into the den. We want to bring you part of the way we look at the game, and we want to hear what you have to say about the game and what brings joy and sometimes what really drives you nuts.
I mean, that's exactly what this is about, exactly what you just said, what Sports Den Radio is about. Chance to be a fan, listening to other fans, with other fans, engaging with other fans as we all ultimately, as we say, try to drive our favorite teams to that next championship run. My name is Sammy Shear, and that delicious intro was done so beautifully by my partner Arik Gordon. We're going to be your hosts on this journey. We're going to be joined on the phones by gambling stat connoisseur Aaron Stiefel, aka LaStief. And I also want to take the time to give a quick shout out to the production team, Yoni Frager and Matt Metawarin. Let's get it rolling. We have five sports fans over here ready to bring you some fun stuff to listen to. And let's get right into it. On deck we have our fan trivia, and on double deck we talk a little bit of NFL. But we're going to get rocking and rolling with our first actual segment here, one of the ones we call Fanter. It's a moment to banter about sports as a fan, just something you've been noticing, something that's getting to you that you just want to get out there. And it's not necessarily a gripe, it's just an opportunity to banter as a fan. Fanter, easy, nice word, nice banter. And I'm actually going to let Art kick it off with some banter of his own. What do you got?
I mean, this is the part where what's unique to the fan, right? This is what SDR is all about. We're trying to bring you a perspective that's unique to us. And Fanter, well, my Fanter here is I'm from New Jersey, but now I live in California, right? So I used to watch.
Great decision.
I mean,
great
from sea to shining sea.
Yeah, there you
go. And I grew up watching football at 1:00 p.m. and now I am enjoyably watching football at 10:00 a.m. Right after my little omelet, bam, you get football. And the truth of the matter is, I don't know if they're ever going to do it. I don't know if the NFL is ever going to make a change somehow. Maybe they can get the East Coast games to go to noon. Maybe the West Coast games can go to 9. But there's something enjoyable about watching football in the morning. Sunday night's games become a completely different reality. Right? Sunday night games in the East Coast, they go till 11 o'clock. The Monday night game too. I mean, you're not starting till 8:30. Am I wrong here? Right? 5:15, right? 8:15.
I mean, on the East Coast.
I mean, it's wild. A long game. All of a sudden, it's 11:30. It's close to midnight. You're exhausted. That's not fun. And the East Coast is where it really, the drive comes from. We're from LA.
There's definitely an East Coast bias in the NFL, 100%.
Right.
I mean, it's just a reality.
So why aren't their games in a more time-friendly slot?
The 1:00 time zone is the friendly slot. And most East Coast games are played. It's the ones on the East Coast that become unfortunate is when all the West Coast games start at 4:00 for you guys on the East Coast, and the Sunday night football game, which doesn't matter where it is, starts at 8:30. I mean, all the games on the West Coast that are the games played on the West Coast are in that 1:00 slot. So the 1:00 slot is like when everyone's trying to play. So that's just, but it's
the prime slot.
You absolutely nailed it, though. I mean, the West Coast is great for that. And when they do those London
10 a.m. football.
When they do those London games and we get up at 6:30 to watch football.
Oh, amazing!
Even though it's Jags, Titans.
Yeah.
Let's do
Who
it.
cares?
Let's do
right.
that. I got someone playing.
I got DJ Shark.
Yeah,
But
I have to actually briefly address something you said before I give you my quick thought. You noted before your 10 a.m. football, you're making an omelet. That's unbelievable. That's so very cultured of you.
I mean, a little coffee, maybe like olives.
An olive omelet? Oh.
I mean, not inside the omelet. No, not inside the omelet, on the side.
Oh, God. A little taster on the side. Yeah. What's in the omelet?
It could be onion, maybe a little pepper.
Wow, alright, mixing it up.
Wow.
Nice. My quick Fanter thought is about my Las Vegas Raiders as the name of time. And I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the Raiders. I could do that all day, but quick thought I wanted to say.
We're big Raider fans over here.
Yeah,
Some of us.
On some level.
On some
level,
some.
everyone's a Raider fan, right? I mean, on some level.
Right. They all know where it came from.
I'm very excited about the new stadium. I have season tickets to the new stadium. We're excited to talk about some of the things that comes with being a season ticket holder as well.
Sure. Big fan topic.
I gotta say, I have a lot of friends, and I'm big with Raiders Twitter. I love following all my guys on Raiders Twitter. There's a lot of people who are rightfully devastated about losing the team to Las Vegas. I mean, they lost the Warriors, and I mean the A's are, the stadium's up in the air as well. I mean, so they're
big
lost the Raiders. Rightfully upset about losing their team. I can relate to that. I guess they're the Oakland Raiders, but man, am I excited for Vegas or what? Like, new stadium, the Death Star. Allegiant Stadium, as it's going to be called.
Interesting name.
Interesting name, Allegiant Stadium. Allegiant Airlines. Has anybody ever flown Allegiant Airlines?
No.
Has anybody heard of Allegiant Airlines before this?
Maybe afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm a huge Allegiant fan. Let's fly Allegiant to the Raider games.
If it flies right in next to MGM, right? Exactly. MGM, it's going to be right there. The stadium.
But it's hard to. I feel bad for these fans who just are watching the team get torn away, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not going to be a fan still." I mean, all right, I can relate to that, but I'm still going to be a fan.
It's tough. I mean, listen, I grew up a Raider fan in New Jersey. My dad became a Raider fan in the 60s as a kid, and I just kind of latched on there as a kid. And so I'm a little bit more part of the Raider Nation as well. And then moving out to LA, I really wish that they would come out here. There's a big question on whether
they
or
were
not.
so close, man.
Yeah.
If the Raiders were here instead of the Chargers, it would not be like this.
That's a whole discussion we're going to get into.
Because Lakers-Clippers dynamic where, the Clippers came, they got Kawhi and Paul George, and they're still the Clippers. They're still the Clippers. If the Raiders came to LA, oh man, that would have been an absolutely dope situation for everyone.
Except the police.
Yeah.
Except the LAPD.
I really believe that was a big part of it. There's got to be some
there's no way Crumpy let that happen, for sure.
Something.
Crumpy knew the Rams had to stay the top dog. That was my thought. Everyone, check it out. It's trivia time. We are going to be on each show bringing a great trivia question, and we're gonna reveal the answer on the next one.
No, on this one. A little
later in the show.
They're gonna try to stump us, I guess. I mean, they'll probably do a good job.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. So
we're just fans.
This is podcast numero uno.
Yeah.
I will say we did do a practice run, and
by the way,
I did not get the question right. So I'm looking forward to starting the official season, preseason 0-1, but regular season looking to start the season with a W. We'll see what happens here.
Absolutely.
We are going to actually bring in producer extraordinaire Matt Manawaran to drop the question on us. For us to ponder briefly before circling back to it later on. Matt, what's going on, man?
Let us do it. Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt.
We're on camera anyway.
Yeah, on camera. There we
go. If the listeners could do me a favor and rewind the podcast, I don't know, 6 minutes, just for where Sammy says, I have a lot of friends. And also I know people in Raider Nation. That's good brag.
There it is.
I know this was a hard stop after I have a lot of friends.
I would definitely say that. I would say that again.
It's probably true.
I have a lot of friends.
It's probably true.
I'm proud of it.
Okay, but that's not the trivia question, guys. I prepared a little something for you. Guys, trivia is a tradition as old as sports. We all love trivia, but sometimes trivia can end in tragedy. And that's what we're talking about today, the ultimate in fan tragedy. Lifelong Cubs fan and Simpsons dance aficionado Steve Bartman famously interrupted the catch of a foul ball in the 2003 NLCS. What then Cubbies outfielder did Bartman steal the otherwise easy out from?
Oh my god, I'm 1 for 1. I know the answer. That's awesome. And just so we can prove that I know it, I'm actually going to mouth it to the producer just so he can see that I knew it and didn't look it up during the show.
He mouthed, I have a lot of friends. I don't know that.
Yeah, I saw that for sure.
I did see that.
I absolutely know that.
Alright, well,
awesome. 1 for 1, baby.
Ponder on it.
Yeah, okay.
And we'll bring that answer to you a little later on. And I vividly.
I might be stumped. I don't know if I remember the name.
just think hard enough about the play. I know you can picture in your head.
By the way, Sammy's saying 1 for 1 because in the
exactly, as stated, yeah.
of this podcast,
that was the
they had asked a question that they were going to use, and I had gotten that one correct.
That was the established.
Sammy did not know that one.
However, I would be, if this does turn out to be a tie after this, I'd be willing.
We could say that question maybe at the end. They can maybe say that question too, of just of the spirit.
Yeah, maybe we'll give a double. Maybe we'll give a double whammy. We'll give a double whammy today, and we'll both start even after the day.
Okay.
Because I do know the answer to this one.
I like it.
All right, we'll circle back.
We're gonna move on. Yeah, we're gonna go. We had our fan trivia section, and now we're gonna switch right into the NFL. A lot to talk about in the NFL, right, Sammy? I think you had something, you really were hot on with the Pats.
Yeah. My initial thought on the Pats, and this is before the news of like today. I was like, the Pats have to be done, right? I mean, they can't sign Brady for $30 million a year, right? Like, they're just not going to do that. But then today I saw it's like one of the third biggest favorites that Brady goes to the Raiders in Vegas with no state income tax, and just like shines for 2 years. Raiders cut bait with Derek Carr, and then draft his replacement in the first couple rounds of the 2020 or 2021 NFL draft. And it was crazy because I saw on a sports gambling website that the Raiders were the third biggest favorite at like plus 450 or something like that. Pats are still the biggest favorite at like minus 400 or something like that, so they're still a big favorite. But then the Chargers were plus 400 and the Raiders were plus 450. And I want to bring in for the first time our gambling aficionado, Aaron Stiefel, aka LaStief. Welcome, Steve. First, before I ask you the question here, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're going to bring to the show and what you're thinking here?
Sure. Thanks for bringing me on, Sammy and Art. Jersey boy over here, and a little background on myself. My grandfather taught me chess and poker at the age of 5, and poker played better. So I stayed with that, and especially when I was in Rutgers, my New Jersey folk over here. I said Jersey born and raised. In order to help pay for college, I was in some of the clubs down there, Karma Club, Stinky's and Aces. Those who know those places, they don't exist anymore. But playing some cards over there. That's like I got the sports wagering bug, and
it is definitely a bug. Oh man.
It's gonna get bigger.
Oh yeah.
So Starship Troopers.
So LaStief, let me hit you with my question here. I mentioned those values, gambling values, minus 400 for the Pats, plus 400 for the Chargers, plus 450 for the Raiders, or something like that. On those numbers there, where's the value play? Is he what do you think? He's going back to the Pats? I mean, or is there a real chance that betting, that he's going to go to somewhere in the AFC West and we can make some money on that plus 400?
Yeah. He goes home.
I mean, there's no value in betting the favorites there, right? You're putting too much money down to win too little. But I feel like there's like a little bit, where did Belichick, where was he before the Pats? Obviously the Jets, but before that, his last head coaching sprint was
the Browns?
The Browns.
Nailed it.
So I think it's just kind of...
He was interviewed, you know who interviewed him before he got to the Pats job? The Raiders. Al Davis. Took Gruden instead.
I mean, we can't say that was a bad decision. But,
that led to a lot of things.
The first few years were beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Dude, Gruden's time with the team was when I became a Raider fan. That was so fun. So fun. Huge. Great 4 years, and then
Tim Brown.
In case you didn't see, in addition to making that sound, I was doing a downward airplane with my finger.
Those were the days.
The good old days. All right, Steve. One more for you. We saw that almost all of those first few games hit the under. Bills, Texans, Titans, Pats. Vikings, Saints, and Seahawks, Eagles. Did all 4 hit the under?
I believe so.
I think so. Yeah, 46 for Vikings. Yeah, no, I know the other ones did for sure. So
maybe producer back can confirm.
Is that just a stat that we need to see moving forward? I mean, now all the teams are heading into KC, into Baltimore, into San Fran. I mean, these teams can put up points both on offense and defense. Are we going to see more points, or?
I definitely think so. I mean, I think last week is a lot to do with the fact that a lot of upsets happen, right? For underdogs to win, their defense got to show up because the better teams are usually the better offenses.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, and I think Lamar Jackson versus the Titans. I mean, the Titans clearly had a good enough defense to stop the Pats, but I mean, clearly the Pats' offense was not anything good this year, which is pretty crazy that their wide receiver coach just got given the head coaching job of the New York Football Giants. But
well, we've seen some crazy stuff happen.
yeah,
So.
man. How are they? I mean,
I don't know.
look, even if that does, I know he was also their special teams coordinator, and their special teams have always been dominant, and it may work out. Just like Daniel Jones was like panned, and he looks like he may actually kind of be a thing for them. But like, what a name drop! Like Joe Judge, Jesus.
It kind of works for New York, though, right? You almost thought it was a Yankees.
Joe Judge.
You know, one of the things you were saying before, though, about Tom Brady and the Pats, you know, are the Pats going to survive? What's Tom Brady's next move? Are the Pats going to survive? I think so. Like, it's not necessarily about Tom Brady, although I think he obviously is massive in it. But if Bill Belichick stays there and Robert Kraft is still the owner, I think that they will eventually get a quarterback that is Tom Brady, like, or someone that will match their system.
There will never be a quarterback.
They've had some good ones. They've had some good ones. Listen, Brissett played the whole season as a starting quarterback this past year. I'm not saying he's elite. I'm not saying it.
The only other one who seems to have been the return of Jesus would be Jimmy G. Obviously, Jimmy Jesus.
Now, Jimmy is a great right. Did they let him go at the wrong time? They got a Super Bowl regardless.
I'm going to throw this out there for the first time, let it be documented, that I'm very sure the Niners, like, Kyle Shanahan must have done some sort of favor for Billy B to get Jimmy G for a second round pick. Like, oh my goodness. Yeah, and to clarify, I'm not suggesting anything sexual, but like there had to be
massive,
a second round pick for Jimmy G. I mean,
it's a massive trade.
The Patriots just traded a second round pick for Mohamed Sanu.
Which I just think they were just trying to fill in for Josh Gordon, and why get rid of Josh Gordon? Why not just keep him in your system and see how it plays out?
He's obviously out of the league already, anyways. So.
I know, but they could have still might have helped him. Maybe being a Patriot might have not, or maybe they just knew something, ahead of time. Sometimes that happens.
Final NFL thought before moving on, and I'll pass this one to Arik here. Did we see in the wild card round? Did we see good Kirk or bad Drew? Which one of those did we see? I mean, we saw a little bit of both, but which one is that more? Was that a gutsy Kirk road win, or did Drew literally fumble the game away after Taysom Hill was doing unbelievable things?
So, it's a great question. I mean, listen, I think Drew's getting older, and I think you're seeing that little bit of wear and tear in the arm. Maybe they needed to utilize him a little bit differently. With Kirk, there was this one play that's kind of stuck out to me, where he bombs the ball to Thielen at the end there, and I kind of see it was a great play, great catch by Thielen, who I think is really one of the top wide receivers in the game. Excellent fantasy option, obviously, over the past 2 years. Obviously, he's had some ups and downs, but he kicked off last year. Yeah, started off with the bang. But you know what I noticed about the play, though, even though the play was a success, Diggs was wide open on the under, and he would have easily gone for another, 15 yards. And you just wonder sometimes, is Cousins seeing that even? Is he just going for the shot?
I mean,
I'm still not sold.
Okay.
That's
you know what I'm saying.
A
step on that play, like he was. I'm not ready to say something like that, but
I would love for Zimmer to win a Super Bowl. But if he's gonna do it with Cousins and Cousins wins, like, I'm not, he's better than Trent Dilfer, but he doesn't really. I don't know. Maybe Eli Manning is you kind of chuck pass. I mean, that's how you win it. You're chucking the ball. I don't know. I'm not sure. So I mean, it is kind of like I'm not sure what we really saw, and I think we're gonna have to see.
Kirk's always been one of the more efficient players. One of the ones who's always had the higher completion percentages, really just high efficiency, passer rating between 90 and 100. And his problem was never not having stats or being a reliable game manager. At least it was always that just in the big moment he would cock it up, like just Monday Night Football. He's 0-9. That's hilariously terrible. Like, how is an NFL quarterback started 9 games on Monday Night Football and not won any of them?
So you wonder, if what we're seeing is the true self of Kirk Cousins, or is he gonna be a letdown in the next round. You know, Tony Romo, I think, won a wild card game, right? And then the Cowboys really never went further than that. We might be seeing the same type of player within Kirk Cousins. But we want to move on. And our next segment is actually a lot of fun. It's called Enough is Enough. This is really where we get into to being a fan and really kind of getting riled, something that riles you up, man. As a fan, something you want to see changed. And we always welcome
we've all seen
your
that
comments.
Family Guy episode of, what really grinds my gears.
Exactly. And we really want to welcome like what you want to say as well.
Yeah.
And we want to, if you want to shoot out something on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. By the way, we're also on YouTube for anybody who's able to view us. Otherwise, we are hopefully everywhere where you get your podcasts. And if not, please shoot us a line and we'll make sure that we're available there. But all the major ones for sure.
Yeah, and on social, it's Sports Den Radio, SportsDenRadio, at Sports Den Radio, all one word, LFG SDR.
Let's go, baby. And so this is Enough is Enough. And to be honest, I'll tell you something I've had enough with. All right? And I'm going to sit down. I'm putting the notepad down. I've been holding it for anybody who watches. I kind of go to it time to time. But I'm putting it down right now because I kind of had it. The NBA, and then we're going to switch gears, and I'm talking about football. Now we're going to talk about basketball. Okay? But the NBA has a problem. They have a lot of problems, right? They're begging for you to watch games, and they're begging for you to watch the slam dunk contests, whatever. That's fine. There's a bigger problem. When a basketball player, I'm not even talking about specific players anymore, but when a basketball player can take a basketball and take a couple of steps without dribbling that basketball, and the ref is looking right at him, and he's looking at the other defender's looking at the ref, and he's yelling at the ref, and the ref's not doing anything about it, you got a problem. You have a traveling problem. And it's enough is enough. The game is losing its value. Enough is enough. We need to change an element of basketball to bring a little more livelihood to the game. Man, fucking love 90s basketball. There was something about, I don't know, maybe I grew up as a 90s kid, so it's part of it, but also that, it was some grindiness to the game. And I think the only way to bring it back is to only allow one step, and that's it. Otherwise, you travel.
How's that going to make the game more physical and nasty?
Because I think it's going to cause bodies to get closer. Because you can only do one thing, one move from when you stop with the ball, and that will allow the defender to get closer to you, not having to worry about you taking a second step to get more space on the court.
That's going to take away all dope dunks.
Perhaps, or maybe it'll make dunks even doper. And I'm not even. I know it sounds whatever. But listen,
tell them the opposite.
You're
absolutely right.
One step for mankind. Yeah, step.
One step for the NBA. One giant step.
Can change, but it can change the league. Listen, the league I think has a lot of problems. We're going to definitely talk about in a future podcast, maybe even a little later today. But the fact is that this could be one. I don't know. Listen, we're just we're fans. We're here on the couch. Are we going to change? No. Maybe not. I don't know. But we'd love to hear what you guys think. One step can change it. It's a little more physicality. It's going to have to allow for a little more creativeness from the players, if that's even a word. Creativity. Creativeness. From the players, and I think that's what's going to make the game a lot more fun to watch. I don't think Steph Curry needs to worry about if he's taking 2 steps. You guys step back 3 is super exciting. You don't have to worry about guys like that. I think it's an element of the game that can really change the game. And you don't have to worry about then not calling travels, which happens all the time. It's becoming an irrelevant rule. And that's not what you want. If you want some substance, if you want some integrity in your league, you need to hold by the rules. You need to blow the whistle when shit like that happens. Enough is enough already. And honestly, to me as a fan, it really does get to me. It boils my blood. And enough is enough. I'd really like to see a change. Adam Silver, whoever's in charge, whenever somebody can actually do something, if you want to make a change in your league, perhaps just getting rid of one step is all you need. Enough is enough.
Whew. Intense. Do you want to hear the verbiage of the rule just real quick so that everybody knows exactly
Sure.
what it is in the NBA?
Yeah,
Upon gathering the ball, an offensive player may legally take 2 steps before he must release the ball on a pass or shot attempt.
Yeah, the problem is I would agree, the problem is not the rule. The problem is
it is the implementation. But it's not going to happen.
You see these videos of like Russell Westbrook taking like 6 steps on a dunk, just like forgot to dribble, and they just like don't call it.
It's just not going to happen though. Otherwise, you see 2, you might see 3. I don't know, and I'll just let it go.
Well, this is a perfect thing because my enough is enough is literally about that exact same thing, parlaying off your issue, which is what I believe is the actual root of your issue. Is that across the board, I don't know if this is because of the social media era making things go viral, or I really don't know. But how bad is officiating across all sports right now? Like,
oh yeah,
the NFL officials, but I'm going to say the NFL, the NBA, some of Major League Baseball. I can't really speak to hockey as much, but especially the introduction of VAR in the Premier League as well.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
How can you have something like VAR and still fuck up the call? Like, how can you actually stop the game, use a micro millisecond to like how, and still mess it up? Like, how it makes zero sense. How do you miss handballs when you review things? How do we have a play where you're meant to review pass interference and we don't need to debate whether or not it was real or not, but the Kyle Rudolph shove off at the end of the Vikings-Saints game there, I mean, why was that not reviewed? It doesn't matter if it wasn't overturned. I mean that's just a mismatch on the Vikings. I think that was just good football right there. He definitely pushed him. He saw both arms go away, but I mean it needed like a little flick. He was so much bigger than the defender there. But
maybe that's
why wasn't it reviewed? Like what are the officials doing right now? Is it because everything is so scrutinized now that everyone's afraid to make a call, or what is going on?
Then don't work.
The only people not afraid to make calls are the ones who make the bad calls. Walt Coleman, NFL. By the way, thank you, Walt, for fucking up the Tuck rule 20 years ago and still fucking up the NFL today. Thanks, bro. Jeez. Enough is enough across the board. As gambling is becoming more legal, people's like money, like people's like actual like money across several platforms is going to be relying on these incompetent individuals. Like, there's going to be problems, I think. Like, not like mobster problems, not like pitchfork problems, but like, well, maybe. But cut to me with a pitchfork outside Walt Coleman's house. But there has to be something done. People are not going to be able to actually gamble like professionally or like publicly with these types of officials. They are affecting gameplay. It's not even just like, oh, call here. They're affecting the outcome of games, and enough is enough.
Enough is enough. And now, actually, on your point, moving on to our over/under Victor Vector segment over here with our main man, LaStief.
Wow, airplane reference on podcast number 1. What's your vector, Victor? Very, very nice.
Hakeem the Dream.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we have LaStief here.
To clarify, we're in our early 30s. We're very cultured for knowing airplane references. Yeah, let's bring in Steve.
Yeah, LaStief. Yeah, let us know what are you thinking? Looking ahead for this weekend, NFL wise.
Like we already said, right? Last week was a low scoring week. I think this week is the bounce back week. I mean, do you guys know the largest NFL spread is for the weekend?
I know like Ravens were like 8.5 or something at one point.
Yeah, so the Ravens are 9.5, the Chiefs are 9.5. AFC South getting 0 respect.
Damn.
I think that's
Texans.
fair with the Texans. I think it's fair.
I mean, they're both gonna lose, but that's.
Their points against is 385 points for 378. I mean, they're giving up more points than they've been scoring all season. Like, they're super lucky to be in the position they're in.
Yeah, if Titans win, I'll officially believe I'll be betting on them to win it all for sure. But
I mean, the Titans.
So you're saying we gotta hit these overs, or what are we doing here for the weekend?
So I would say start with the Chiefs Texans game, right? The last 2 times they played, they scored over 65 and actually over 75. The last 2 times they played, I know there's talk of some snow, but it looks like it's clearing up. So skies, it's gonna be cold, chilly, but clear day. And I would say use the ladder method. You guys familiar with the ladder method?
Hit me, big dog.
So the way that you
on which game is this?
On the Texans and the Chiefs.
Got it.
Alright, so step one, I think this game's going to go, like I said, over 60, honestly. But start low with the 45.5, so I win that $100. And then I bet that $100 on the normal over, which at the time was 51.5, so I win another 110 there. And then I start to go to some of the alternate point spreads. I'm at 57.5, 50 makes me 150, and then over 61, 50 makes me 200. So as that game keeps moving up, I start to make more money. So I'm really leaning into that, expectation on that game.
Wow.
That's crazy.
What a thought. This is in podcast 1.
I know, right?
It's been fire early. Dang, Steve. All right, Steve, hit me with one more. What's another big bet for the weekend?
So my other big bet is that the Titans, who we kind of mentioned peripherally there, I mean, they scored more points than the Titans this season. They gave up 50 less points than the Titans this season. Their away record is 5-3. I think they are going to cover the 9.5, and even more than that, they're going to go on to play the Chiefs next week. We're going to be going Rudy. So the Titans, I think, are going to get to the Super Bowl, but we'll get to that next week. Let's let them get past the Ravens first.
Wow, Titans over.
They'll remember the Titans. They might remember Steeple.
I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie. The Ravens' run defense is the one part of that defense that's actually like susceptible. I mean, you're not gonna. I mean, Marcus Peters. What the fuck is that dude's deal? He's just all of a sudden superstar. And he actually, with the Chiefs and Rams, he always made plays, but he also always like
they're gonna run on
gave
King
up
Henry.
huge plays. Yeah, Henry. If they establish him early and get him going, I mean, and congrats to obviously everyone on the offensive staff for the Titans for finally figuring out what to do with Derrick Henry, aka give him the ball. So
yeah,
it really was never that difficult. I'm not sure what's happened in his first couple seasons there.
Dude, Ryan Tannehill.
So what? Tannehill's what? Tannehill's the future for them, or what? Is he under contract still, or is he going to be?
Yeah, you think Tannehill's still under center next year?
I mean, if he's a free agent right now, they can franchise him. I mean,
unless it's a coaching change, I don't see why they don't lock him up. But you know what I also wanted to just throw out there, because I like to look at history. Because I'm a fan, so like a lot of times I'll relate a current game to a past game. And this Titans going to play the Ravens reminds me a lot of my Jets in 2010 going to play the Chargers. Where we had Mark Sanchez under center. You know how many yards he threw in that game?
71.
100. You threw 100 yards, and then won 17-14. I think that's what we're going to see this week. We're going to see a rusty Ravens team off a bye, coming a little cocky. I think Harbaugh is going to try to be a little too tame in the beginning, kind of like we saw with the Saints against the Vikings, right? A little too, well, let's save the good plays for next week. We can win this. I think they might at halftime show up into a really close game. And that's what the Titans just run away with it.
And on that final Titans note there, Tannehill confirmed is a free agent entering next season. So the Titans, I mean, look, at this point, he's already the guy probably. Like, they have to give him a contract.
I think so.
There's no way he's not a Titan next year.
I think so.
R.I.P. Mariota. Good luck with the rest of your career.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Back up somewhere soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, fans and friends, we are officially ready for the fan trivia answer. Hold
on. Normally,
this is so exciting. So exciting.
I would reference the trivia question.
Established that there was a previous question, and in fact, I will do you one better, and we will bring in that question just as a quick pop quiz to all listeners who want to get some fun facts out there.
Let's say the first question first, so I get a little bit of and then you can end up on a high.
All right, well, say what the question is. Say what the question is, and then we'll give the answer to the previous one, and then circle back to the answer to yours.
Sounds beautiful.
All right. So the question from yesterday was, if I remember correctly, there's only been one game in Major League Baseball history that has had 0 fans in attendance.
Correct.
Full player game, full coached game, full umpired game, 0 fans. What game was that? I did not know the answer to that question. Our trusty co-host, Arik Gordon, did. So we all praise you for your glory. Very nice. Job well done.
Oh yeah.
You're so good.
No way.
But today's, and we'll give
I'm
you
going downhill from here.
we'll give you that answer. But the answer to today's question, and we'll review that question again. Producer Matt, you want to hit us with that question one more time?
The question one more time from today is: lifelong Cubs fan and Simpsons dance aficionado, my favorite part of the question, Steve Bartman famously interrupted the catch of a foul ball during the 2003 NLCS. What then Cubbies outfielder did Bartman steal the otherwise easy out from?
Zero guesses from you?
Well, so my friends in Chicago might not be so happy, but then again, I am a White Sox fan.
That's
so,
true. That is
so,
that's
so
true.
that does, you know, so I don't really pay attention to those other guys. Not that I grew up again, I grew up in
It's
East Coast,
okay.
but still. But I do not know the answer.
Because
As
as
I
a
said,
guy, I did not know the other one as well. The answer to this one, and I'm gonna look producer Matt to verify, is Moises Alou.
Nailed it. It's exactly what
Moises Alou.
exactly what he said to me earlier.
Oh, I remember it vividly. He's
Nice.
so angry at this glasses wearing fuck in the pavilion. Like, it's
Are you kidding me?
it's just absolutely gold. Like throwing
Job well
his
done.
glove down, like, and made the curse continue at that point. But then obviously the Cubs got it done. I will say about the Cubs on a baseball note here, which is a nice little switch. After the 2016 World Series, I mean, everyone had hailed the Cubs as like a lock to be a dynasty. All their stars were young. Their pitchers were powerful. They had a perfect mix of veterans and young guys.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing stopping them from getting it done, and I was nervous as shit. I was like, damn, there's like a full-blown powerhouse while the Dodgers are trying to do things. I'm a Dodger fan myself, and well, you know, that's going for me, just making the playoffs every year and never doing anything. But the Cubs, like, it's crazy that they never became like and their guys are still young. They have enough of them still that they can make some stuff happen. But it's pretty crazy they never became the thing that they looked like they were going to be. Like kind of like what like the Astros are right now. I would say, like the Astros, like they lost the World Series. Like I guess you could say the same about the Dodgers, but the playoff pitching is heartbreaking. But the Astros are a team that looks like, and maybe the Yankees, but they just look like they're going to get it done every year. Like there's just so many dudes who rake.
Kind of like the Patriots.
Yeah.
Maybe have.
Yeah, but the Patriots don't.
Like.
Or the Astros, I don't think have a Tom Brady. They just have like
they're collective.
They have a ton of explosive superstars. Like it's crazy. Like everybody on the team is explosive and crazy. Reminds me kind of like the Niners defense, maybe, where just everyone balls and tackles and can pick it off. And that'll circle us back to our other question to make my co-host and friend feel good about himself. So the question was, what game in Major League Baseball history has had 0 fans in attendance? And the answer is?
That was a Chicago White Sox versus Baltimore Orioles game.
Yeah, there you go.
In Baltimore, during the riots, they did not let anybody see the game except for some reporters. So if you got to see that live, you saw a game with empty seats.
Official complaint on the record, asked a homer question about a game including the White Sox, knowing he's a White Sox fan. I think I was set up.
You're 1-0 though. You're 1-0. I'm 0-1. Official.
We don't have to do that.
Well, probably will do by
I think we
episode
are.
10. Probably will.
Alright, well I appreciate that. So
I don't think so.
hope you enjoyed that fan trivia. That was super great. And we'll be doing things like that very frequently as well. Every single show, and hopefully eventually mixing some opportunities to bring people in on the phones and buzz in with what you think the answer is. Now we're going to move on to something we're very excited about.
Yeah.
Very, very fun. Yeah. It's our hot minute rundown. We're going to get hit with a ton
almost done with the show. Wow, first show almost finished, guys.
Oh my god, I'm going to cry. Stop it right now. I was on a roll now.
Can't believe it. Gotta get it.
Cry.
You know?
All right.
Fun.
Hot minute rundown. Gonna get asked a bunch of questions.
Hot minute, hot minute.
Rapid fire. Just what do you think about this? What do you think about this? The list of questions I've been promised are very fun, and after only seeing one, agreed, very fun. So we hope you enjoy this segment. We're gonna pass it over to producer Matt, who is going to rattle off a bunch of questions for us to answer. We're gonna give us a super quick answer just to move forward, and give you kind of an insight onto what we think, who we are, over a spectrum of a series of questions. So, producer Matt, hit us. We're ready.
All right, who wants to go first?
Every time?
I'll start first.
Let's go. Want to go, Arik? Okay, let's go with this.
Range.
Actually, this makes sense.
Wait, are you going all the way through Arik and then all the way through?
No, one.
One. This is a good question.
Arik answers first this one. I'll answer first the next one. We'll rotate back and forth.
This is a great question for you. All right.
You only answer the question. You don't answer this question.
At all?
At all.
Oh, got it. Rock on.
All right,
I see what's going on.
We're talking about the first question, number 1 on the hot minute. The NBA Battle of LA. Can the Clippers win it?
Not this year. One more year. One more year, baby. We got it. Lakers might get it this year, though.
Okay. Question number 2. Sammy, can Ron Rivera handle working for Dan Snyder?
Oh, absolutely. Ron Rivera he's a coach of men. He's a dude. He's not going to put up with all that type of behavioral stuff in the organization. I think in fact that's an opportunity for the organization to bring some stability and have someone who's an adult, take care of all the kids, both on the team and in the executive office.
Fantastic. All right. The Packers aren't really that good. They basically just feasted on bad teams.
Yeah, I think they're done. One game, one out. I mean, it's over.
Wow.
Yeah, they'll be knocked out right now. I just don't see it. They're just not complete. There's no offense. I mean, they just run the ball, and if they get stopped, they're done.
I mean, and we all know Russell Wilson's the the Aaron Rodgers kryptonite.
I mean, even a coaching thing.
We may have a Russell Wilson question coming up later. Next question. Does Seattle deserve an NBA team?
Deserve? No one deserves an NBA team. They had one. They were fun. Like, yeah, they're a prime location to get another one. I don't know about deserve. That's awful. I mean, but I will say they can have the Clippers. For sure.
Ouch.
Yeah.
My heart hurts.
Right out of here.
Okay, well then I guess that answers the next question. Will they get one? Which I was going to throw you to.
Now, what do you think, Art? Will they get one?
I do. I think they will. In 5 years.
Maybe even earlier, for sure. You gotta think more.
We'll leave that for another podcast.
There you go.
All right, Arik. Should the Chargers move on from Phillip Rivers?
I think the Chargers need to move on from a lot of things. Is Phillip
Los
Rivers
Angeles is
one?
one?
Yeah, maybe. You know what? They might need him. They might need him to be there for the first snap of the new stadium, just for the look, because honestly, they might be in really big trouble.
No chance your boy Tom Brady?
No,
Makes
he's
his
not
way down
down
there?
there. No way.
Is he your boy?
I do love him. I think the Patriots, what they do as an organization, really,
You don't
really
to be
speaks to
quarterback of the 2020 Vegas Raiders.
Listen, if he is a Raider, that would be pretty cool. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with that, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, to my big Dodger fan here. The Dodger Dog, famous snack at Dodger Stadium. Kind of gross?
Fuck you. What kind of question is that? That's terrible. What do you mean, are they gross? They're a classic. All kinds of shit is gross that we still eat. That is one of the things that, dude, they give those away, in bulk in the stadium, or in the pavilion for all you can eat. I mean, there's no way they would do that if it wasn't super high quality meat, everyone. Obviously, it's super
meat.
hot. That's just top. I'm actually offended I was even asked that question.
All right, Plato
I could ask me, is Kershaw done? Or is the Dodger Dog gross?
Plato on a bun as far as I'm concerned. All right,
There it is.
the Utah Jazz, is that the wrong city to have that nickname?
So I think this happens a lot in sports, right? So you have the Lakers in LA. It's just kind of like normal. Just let it be. Just enjoy the name. I think it kind of suits him already. He kind of grown on me.
Well, I mean, they weren't actually. Obviously, that's from when they were in Minneapolis.
Of course.
Where the Lakes were. I mean, yeah, 6. The Dodgers were actually named for. Do you know why the Dodgers have their name?
In Brooklyn.
Yeah, they had their name from being trolley dodgers. You had to dodge all the trolleys when you lived in Brooklyn. So now, I mean,
It just carries
you have to
on,
dodge
yeah.
traffic in LA and drive.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're still dodging shit out here.
The name kind of ends up working somehow.
Yeah, we have terrible hot dogs, all kind of people are trying to hit you. Let's see. So, Sammy, a movie question for you. Would Willie Steeman Beeman from the movie Any Given Sunday be a top 3 fantasy quarterback?
No.
No, not for the Miami Sharks?
No. You know who would be a top 3 fantasy quarterback?
Who?
What's his name? Shane Falco.
Oh, man, number 1 in our hearts.
Absolutely. Shane Falco drafted first couple rounds. He's got heart.
That's what he needs.
All right.
Halftime, baby.
Next one.
I got to double up to Sammy because I know this is his favorite question on the list.
Absolutely.
Brooks Koepka, fun hang?
No way. No way. Brooks Koepka looks like he'd be the perfect dude to hang out with. Huge, kind of bro-y, just likes to lift and, whatever. But, I don't know. He's robotic on the golf course. He's just an absolute machine. If you ever watch his interviews, he's just totally monotone robotic. Ricky Fowler would be way more fun. Justin Thomas would be way more fun. Tiger Woods would be the super sickest. Tiger, when this podcast is big enough, I'm going to show you this moment when I tell you about this. We're coming for you, buddy.
All right, Arik, will the Ravens be able to stop Derrick Henry?
Ooh, that's a big question. I mean, that's kind of what we spoke about a little earlier. I think they will. Ultimately, they will, and then they'll advance.
All right, Sammy, if the Eagles still had Nick Foles, would they have won?
No. Nick Foles had a Joe Flacco moment where he rode it all the way to the Super Bowl. We saw what Nick Foles was when he came into the Jags this year. They brought him in, benched him for Gardner Minshew, who then led a game-winning drive against the Raiders. Great times for everybody. Foles is done.
All right. Next question. Will Cousins have a Monday Night Football moment and choke against the 49ers?
Choke, I'm not sure. I think the game plan's gonna kind of turn in his disfavor, and he's gonna lose that way. they got really hyped up last game, and I wonder if that joy of winning that game was a little bit too much, and I think the 49ers are ready.
Yeah, it's not fair to call it a choke against
Yeah.
the number one team in the division. Or
Yeah,
in the conference.
exactly.
It wouldn't be a choke.
Yeah.
Just not as good.
Fair enough. So this is kind of an either or. Double or triple the crime in Las Vegas once the Raiders season starts.
Oh boy, I don't know.
I
If they were in LA, I think more.
Yeah, I mean, the crime in Vegas is all generally accepted.
Yeah, well,
like there's crime in Vegas is murder. like you can pretty much do whatever.
It
else.
is called Sin City,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
All right, I guess that answers that. 2 more questions left. Arik, let's throw this one to you. Russell Wilson, greatest hair in the NFL right now?
Oh, currently, is he playing, like currently active? Because I would say Tom Brady's always, he's been kind of mastering it for years, but Jimmy G also is not so bad, so I'm not sure.
I mean, Polamalu's the hair goat for the NFL, though. I mean,
Yeah, but unless you want to do that flick like, what's his name, McCown and Mr. Sam Darnold.
I mean, greatest hair for now until Trevor Lawrence gets in the league, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Not really fair to say Tom Brady. He got it from outside sources. All right, now we're going to throw this last question of the Hot Minute Rundown to both of you guys. The man is Taysom Hill. The future, bro?
Oh, man, come on, dude. This guy's baller.
Here's my thing about Taysom Hill. And
He's getting drafted.
give a quick thought on it because this is the final one.
Fantasy-wise.
It reminds me a bit of when the Raiders had Terrell Pryor. He flashed in limited exposure, and we were turned the keys over to him. And then I remember this one game in particular against the Steelers. We actually ended up winning the game back in 2013, I think. Terrell Pryor first play of the game was a 93-yard touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and somehow we held on. And I think I'm not even sure if we ended up winning or losing that game. Regardless, that's all he did the entire game. Pretty much.
Man.
He ended up with 60 yards passing and 112 yards rushing. We didn't move the ball after that. So Taysom Hill, can it be sustained? I'm rooting for it. That dude is sweet. If you watch the Saints-Vikings game, there were 3 straight plays where he ran the ball for about 7 yards, and then he tossed a fat one to Harris, their kick returner, and then he laid a key block on the touchdown run. It was so cool to see someone do that. He's a taller, stronger, more on board, someone I can get on with, Tim Tebow. I'm not gonna lie, from a fan perspective, I hated Tebow mania. Oh man, that was horrible.
Yeah.
In my own division, a dude who literally did nothing for 3 quarters comes in, makes 2 throws in the 4th quarter, winning a 16-13 game.
You got
the savior.
to think about the defense, really.
Yeah, the defense was just
playing
incredible.
unreal football.
The defense was so good, and all they talk about is Tebow mania. Yeah.
Well,
Linsanity was the thing.
That's
Tebow mania is not, for sure.
All right, well,
Okay.
thank you guys.
Yeah, no, dude, thank you. That was fun, man. That was really
I
great.
enjoyed doing that. We'll do that again.
And we just want to thank everybody here for joining into Sports Den Radio. It's been a lot of fun having this first podcast with you. We're gonna end off on a final note, but just final thought. But just right before we do, just want to thank everybody for tuning in. How you found us today, we'd love to know. And thanks for finding us today. We're available on YouTube, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, Google, and much more.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're putting out fire content.
We're a lot of fun on Twitter.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Twitter's where we're having the most area right now, but we're having a good time, and we're excited to have you guys have a good time with us. Final thought, Arik, something to think about. We're gonna try to get another one of these out to you guys, either before or after the AFC and NFC Championship game, before the Super Bowl, obviously. But before they hear from us again, what's a final thought to enter the next couple weeks of NFL playoffs, as we're heading into the All-Star break of the NBA? What's your final thought to look on there?
It's actually, I'm going to switch the tune just a tad. We've been talking about football, we talked a little bit about baseball, we got into a little bit about NBA, but we didn't talk much about the NHL. And it's actually not really geared so much about a team specifically, as much more as a city. And that city is St. Louis. And my final thought here is, if anyone's been paying attention over the past few years about what was happening in St. Louis specifically, they lost the Rams to Los Angeles, and after that period of time, you witnessed Los Angeles play Boston in multiple championships. One in baseball with the Dodgers and the Red Sox, one in football with the Rams and the Patriots.
Are you only doing this because I beat you in the trivia question today?
Has nothing to do with that.
fine.
But what was interesting is that St. Louis, if you think about it, had a little bit of a little something towards LA, right? Here they lost their team to Los Angeles, and here now they see that team in the Super Bowl against Boston, against New England, really. They see the Dodgers also succeeding over their Cardinals, the only other sport that they have left, besides for hockey. And what was interesting enough is that who ends up facing Boston for the third time, right? Boston's here on the street. They're going to win 3 in a row for their city. It hasn't really been done in sports. But St. Louis goes ahead and does the one thing LA couldn't do, beat Boston. And I think that not only is it a bright spot for St. Louis hockey, obviously they got their very first Stanley Cup, but I think it really meant something to the city. And if people say you go to the city now, it's a lot livelier. And I think it had a little bit to do with the fact that, hey, we did something LA. We might have lost the Rams to LA, but we did something LA couldn't do. We beat Boston. That's my final thought. I want to thank you guys for joining. I'm Arik Gordon, along with Sammy Sher. We had LaStief, Aaron Stiefel from the East Coast, along with our producer Matt Manorn and Yoni Frager out in Baltimore. It's been a pleasure, guys, hosting, and I hope you guys have had a great time here in the Den. We're Sports Den Radio.
Sports Den Radio. #LFG. #SDR. Thanks a lot for listening, guys. Talk to you guys soon.